We're back normal size balding. Look, I am not disciplined enough to take up for you. Because I know how I do it. I deja vu how I have done it. Not only physically, I did it with my mind, and I did it basically like Merlin. Well, isn't that cheating you? Because your genetics and your life, like, I didn't do what Darwin said. And he is so much more superior in his logic than I know a thing about. And it doesn't have any magic in it. And it's all, Darwin was just, he's like a, when I was a kid, I worked in an Oldsmobile dealership, and there were certain cars they couldn't figure out what was wrong. And these factory reps would come around and troubleshoot for you. But some of them were worthless. And like any troubleshooting rep that tries to figure out problems that no one else can, it's like anything, you know, you can get to the bottom of some things and other things you can't. Maybe somebody else can find it. I did the best I can. I just can't get it. Well, there's some things he could. Well, kind of what has to happen here. I don't think one man does that as much as the wits of everybody and a poll. Not only that accomplishes not only what's, it's not that the poll says that and the ballot is so inclusive, it's the discussion that leads up to it is. And the poll is the least of the action of what it stands for. And that's conversation. And it's not done through advertising and tax evasion or however the hell you think it is. You don't even have, you're not paying any tax, so I don't see how you got evasion. Or you got any surplus to pay tax from? No, you're doing it from flow. Well, really, is flow tax a tax? Can you tax flow? Because that's all you're taxing, is the action. Is that a tax? You should have never started that in the first place. It was dumb. You move the tax off of surplus. That's the only thing you can tax. What else could you tax? Can you tax flow here? What is this? Perpetual motion, I know. What happens when you grab the motion that's perpetual? And you just keep just bleeding it off, and because here this is like a lake that has an inlet and an outlet. Now you keep bleeding it, pretty soon what happens to that? And this lake has birth and death, and topsoil and floodplain, and breathe, genetically and DNA, inlet and outlet. What have you done? Milked or dry? Not putting anything back. You took away and didn't put anything back. What have you invested here? In explanation, and contribution, and duty. Where are the words of putting anything back, like duty, contribution, honesty, generosity, a word of putting things back? Where are these challenges? Where are these? Because Darwin said when you use those, you'll get the result. Darwin was like a great troubleshooter in an Oldsmobile garage telling you what's wrong with the planet and what to do about it. He was better than a genius. He and Charles Dickens together could pretty much solve all your social and fiscal issues. You remember what those two said, you don't have any social fiscal issues, that's for sure. It might not cover your botany physics, but it's still, although Darwin was definitely into botany and physics, and his remarks certainly include a good portion of things, maybe not everything, but his remarks, because they include a lot of people's remarks. His remarks include a lot of people's remarks. And he said, however you challenge it with those people's remarks is exactly what you're going to get. Well, what if you take all these wonderful remarks these people said and challenge this place with them? Will that work? No, that won't work. What? However you challenge it, that's what will happen. That's a fact. Charles Darwin. One to me. I don't know, what did you call it? Yeah, never mind. How they quote Darwin, they got a third, it's a pinch of what the man said.